constructor in a single class. That option also is there. So I hope now you have understood what is a constructor. Coming to method overloading. This is another very important concept that anybody should know. Okay, you see here, there can be Manjunath. Say for example, there can be more than one Manjunath in your class. Okay, say Manjunath. 3 Manjunaths are there in a single class. Okay, in this particular class, you see now, in the class PGM8, there are 3 people, all of them have the same name, Manjunath. But you see here, this Manjunath is capable of eating 2 idlis. This Manjunath is capable of eating 2 masala dosas. This Manjunath is eating 2 rava idlis. Okay. So, though the names are same, you see, some, they are same. But there is a difference here. Number of parameters also same. Everybody, each Manjunath is eating 2 only. But this guy is eating 2 masala dosas. This guy is eating 2 rava idlis. And this guy is eating 2 puris. Okay. The types of parameters are different. Even the types of, okay, there should be a difference either here, or there can be a difference in the quantity of food they eat. That means, say, this Manjunath is eating 2 idlis, means this Manjunath may eat 3 idlis or 5 idlis. There can be a difference in the number of arguments, or there can be a difference in types of arguments. You see now, types are different. In the types of arguments, there is a difference. There can be a difference in number also. This is capable of taking 2 integer values. This may accept 3 integer values or 4 integer values. There can be difference in the number of arguments, or there can be a difference in the return type. Okay, here all the 3 have the same return type, void. There can be a difference here also. So we expect a difference to be there. See, names are same. Okay, let the names be same, but there should be a difference in the types of arguments, or in the number of arguments, or in these places, or in the return types. At least there should be some difference. All of them are written in a single class. All of them are written in a single class. You see now, all the 3 some methods are used in the same class. But there is a difference in, here in this example, there is a difference. There is no difference in the number. This is accepting 2 integers. This is accepting 2 floats. This is accepting 2 double floats. Number is the same, but types are different. So at least there should be difference in one of these 3 places. What are the 3 places? The 3 places are, okay, the 3 places are return type. This is place 1. At this place there can be a difference, or in the number of parameters. This is accepting 2. This may accept 3 or 4. Float A, float B, float C. There can be a difference in the number, or there can be a difference in the type. This is accepting 2 integers. This is accepting 2 floats. This is accepting 2 double floats. So there should be a difference in one of these 3 places. Names can be same, some. But difference should be there either in the number, or in the type, or in the return type at these places. And all the 3 should be written in a single class. This concept is referred to as method overloading. In that case, you see this example again. I have created a class called as PGM8. This is the house. For this house, I am creating the key. Key is called as P. Okay. These are the 3 music players. I have now 3 music players. All the 3 music players have the same name, some. But however, there is a difference what they are accepting. This is accepting 2 integers. This is accepting 2 floats. and this is accepting two double floats. You see now, through this particular key P, this is the house. For the house called PGM8, the key name is P dot sum 5, 10. 5, 10 are what type of numbers? They are integer numbers. So which of these three is capable of accepting two integers? The first one. So this one gets executed. This is capable of accepting two integers. So when this line is executed, okay, it invokes this particular sum method. When the second line is executed, you see, when the second line is executed, there is a letter F. When you do not write F, it will assume by default as double. It will go here. When letter F is missing, because both float and double, they will have decimal point. When letter F is missing, it will assume by default as double and control will come here. I want control to go here to this particular method that accepts two floating point values. So therefore, okay, you observe in this line 5.5F, 4.5F when I am writing, control goes to this particular method that accepts two floating point numbers. And in the next line, and in the last line, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to provide two floating point numbers. There is no letter F. So which of the methods will be invoked? The last one, this method will be invoked. Okay, and it will provide the result. So what is method overloading? Using same name, you see, sum. Using same name for more than one method with a difference either in the number of parameters or in the types of parameters or in the return types. Okay, if there is a difference in any of these three places, then okay, it's called as method overloading. I hope you have now understood what is method overloading. Constructor overloading. See, what was the definition that I gave for constructor? Constructor, I told it's a special, what did I say? It is a special method, I said. So now I hope you have understood what is method overloading. Using same name for one method, for more than one method, using same name for more than one method is called as method overloading. Constructor overloading means using, see, what is the name of the constructor? Name of the constructor should be same as that of the class. Class is called as PGM9. You observe here, this method also is named as PGM9. This method also is named as PGM9. Both the methods have the same name. Method overloading we saw. All methods are having the name sum. Here also, both these methods have the same name. What is the name? PGM9. Its name is same as that of the class name. Class is named as PGM9. Even the methods are named as PGM9. Okay. So there is a difference where you see this is not accepting any values, any parameters. This is accepting two parameters. This is not accepting any parameters. So this is the default constructor. This is accepting two parameters. This is a parameterized constructor. This you can call as DC. The first one is DC. DC means default constructor. The second one is PC. PC means what? Police constable Allah. It is parameterized constructor. Default constructor, parameterized constructor. See, now both have the same name. PGM9, PGM9. Where is the difference? In the number of parameters, there is a difference. There can be a difference even in the types of parameters. See, this is not accepting any values. This is accepting two values. This can accept two integer values, while this can accept two double float values or some other values. So there can be a difference in two places. See, in case of method overloading, if you have clearly understood method overloading, you will be able to understand this. There can be difference here in the return type. Return type, there can be difference. In the number of parameters, there can be difference. Or in the types of parameter, there can be difference. So at three places, there can be difference in method overloading. Here, there can be difference in the number of parameters. This is not accepting any values. This is accepting two values. There can be difference in the types of parameters. Okay, integers, 2 floats, 2 double. So there can be a difference in the types. But this doesn't have a return type. A constructor is a special method having no return type. There is no return type in front of this, in front of this. So if at all any difference is there, you see, both the constructors share same name, PGM9, PGM9. If at all any difference is there, there can be difference only in two places, in the number of parameters or in the types of parameters. Only in these two places there can be difference. So using more than one constructor in a single class is called as constructor overloading. If you have understood what is method overloading, okay, if you have understood this concept, understanding this concept is pretty much same. Okay, you see now, how is this executed? You see now, while creating this object, I am creating one key called as P. I am creating one key called as P. That is one key name, P. Here, while creating P, are we passing any values here? In brackets, do you find any values? No values. So there are two constructors. Which of them will be executed? One with no values. That is, this one will be executed. Because you are not passing values, this is not accepting values. So this particular constructor will be invoked when I am invoking the first object, when I am creating the first object. P.show means it will be giving values 5 and 10 when I am invoking this particular line. You see this particular line. Here, instead of writing two lines, you see, these are the two lines. First step is to create object. Second step is to, first create a key for the house. Then through the key, invoke the method. This needs two lines. This needs two lines. Instead, you can use the RHS of that first line. Okay, when you are using the RHS, then also object is created, but it will not have a name. See, when you are using this entire thing, object is created and the object is named as P. When you use only this RHS, that is this portion, new, from here till here, object is created, but it will not be given any name. Okay. So I am creating an object. Here you observe new PGM9 means what is happening? I am creating an object. Okay. Having no name. There is no LHS here. So an object is created. While creating an object, I told what is invoked? Constructor will be invoked. While creating the object, I am passing how many values you see? Two integer values I am passing. So which constructor is accepting two integer values? The second one is accepting two integer values. So when this line is executed, okay, PGM9, when I am writing this, object is created without any name. It is creating an object without any name. And an object got created without any name. And through that object having no name, I am invoking the show method. So show method is invoked. So now 100 and 500 are stored inside C. 100 and 500 are passed. Control will automatically go here. 100 will get stored in X, 500 gets stored in Y. That 100 again is copied into A and 500 is stored inside B. So when I am invoking show, inside this show, what is happening inside this show? Inside this show, when I print A and B, it will be printing 100 and 500. Okay. When this line is executed. When this line is executed, it will be printing what values? It will be printing 5 and 10. Okay. It will be printing 5 and 10 when P.show is invoked. When this is invoked, it will be printing 100 and